Recording in progress. Sign in. No December.
28th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay. So we're a couple steps from the end of this thread over here in the Gemora. So
it's funny. I heard you saying thread, and during the break, I was looking through my sewing kit for a certain color of thread.
Oh,
Everything is all intertwined when you have Shem in the world.
thread. Oh, but I'm not echoing now.
You are echoing, but it's okay. I can hear you, so it's not a problem.
I can go to the real tech.
Okay, give it a try.
Is that better now?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I can hear you a lot better now because the echo, I didn't realize it, but the echo was kind of softening your voice.
Oh, okay. I hope that wasn't going on the whole shear.
You were. I should have said something to you, but I didn't. I didn't.
Okay. Everybody was just happy that I didn't freeze.
That's right. Hey, you didn't freeze. Did you do something?
Yeah. Know what I did?
What? You davened.
No, well, what I did was I'm just now I moved into a different room, but it's actually the room which is farthest away from the router.
You're kidding.
But the real difference I think is because I don't have the computer plugged into the socket.
Oh, you're running on the battery?
I'm running on the battery, and like that, I don't. I'm not because my theory is that the drilling affects our electricity. They're doing drilling downstairs, and but in any case, I really don't know why, but that is something that I did.
Well, hopefully it will continue to work.
Yeah. So and I got on today because I saw you on the email list.
Right.
On my Gmail, I saw you. So I just clicked over there, and I got in. Even though they asked me to sign in, but I was able to sign in without being rejected. So
excellent.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. We have a new year, so we got a whole new hashkacha.
Amen.
Okay, so now, yeah, what we're involved in over here is we're on Sadi Tes Amud Aleph, and we are first half of the page, and we're talking about this din of Rav Asi.
Rav
Asi, he was the one, the first, he was the right in the beginning of the Gemora. Rav Asi said, Amar Rav Asi lo shanu ela shenosan lechereshida teva migdal the notes behen masmer v'notes behem masmer v'shibron. Basically, Rav Asi says the Mishnah, which says that he's got to pay, is because the Balabait gave the Uman a finished vessel to do something or other to do to it, and he broke it. So he broke a vessel, he broke a kli that the balabais gave him. Like that, he's got to pay. But Ravasi Tainas, inosan lacherish eitzim lasos shida table migdal. If the balabais gave him raw material to make a kli from those raw materials, gave him wood, and he wants them to make a closet out of it, and like that, he made a closet, and then he broke the closet. So then he's potter, according to Ravasi, because he says umen kona b'shevach kli. The umen acquires the increased value that that the wood got because he made it into a kli. So we have been in the that's Ravasi, and the Gemora the Gemora then said that we got a support to Ravasi from a Mishnah later on about this is you want to know where I'm talking? So about pay over here. This is the last line of the previous Amud, 98b. The last line, it says Lema Masayale. Let's say that we got a support to Ravasi from a Mishnah actually that's on the next page. No saying Semer Saba.
Right, I'm with you.
He gives wool to the dyer, and the dyer burns the wool. So it says over there in the Mishnah, no sin lo demate samro. He gives him the dyer is responsible to pay for the wool that was given to him. And the Gemora was medayik. Demate samro in. Demate samro v'shvachoy shivchoy lo. So the Gemara says, "Oh, we see from the Mishnah that he had to pay for the wool, but he didn't have to pay for the increased value that the dyer gave the wool by dyeing the wool. That he didn't have to pay for. So that's the Gemara says, "Lavded shegdichoy la'achim." Oh, Phil is here. Phil is here. He's coming. So now the Gemara wanted to suggest that there was, in fact, an improvement in the wool before it got ruined. And like that, the Gemara says, Shma Mina umin kona b'sheva kli. According to that way that Gemara wants to learn the Mishnah, that the dyer did improve the wool. He did successfully get the dye to get absorbed in the wool before the vat burned it. So but he doesn't have to pay for that improvement that he made in the wool. He only has to pay for the wool. So on that, the Gemara said, let's say that the Mishnah can be a support for the view of Rav Asi, who says that an uman acquires the improved value that he does with his work in the raw material that he was given. Okay. And then the Gemara, I'm just going through these steps so that we can get to the point. We already did this before.
Right, I'm following you.
So the plan is to get to the point where we didn't get to, and so we could knock off those last two steps and then understand the whole thread.
Right.
Okay. So then the Gemara answers with Shmuel. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel says no. Shmuel says no. That's not what the Mishnah is talking about necessarily. Kagon shek dicho b'shas tefila. Leka shivcha. Shmuel says no. The wool got burned b'shas nefila, at the time that it was in the process, I guess, of absorbing the dye, and so therefore it did not yet. Gemara says leka shivcha. At that point that it got burnt, it did not yet have the improved value of the absorbed dye, and therefore, says Shmuel, there's no proof from this Mishnah to the principle of Rav Asi. Welcome, Phil.
Oh, how you doing?
And a Gemara Chatima Tova to you.
Over.
At Hashem, a good gebench dior. Okay, so we are going over the steps of the Gemara's proof for Rav Asi, and Shmuel has just taken down the proof. And now we're up on the top of page Sadi Tes Amid Aleph. So that's what Shmuel said. No, it's not talking about that case. It's not talking about a case that there was any shevach in the wool yet. And on that, the Gemara said, "Oh, aval hikdichoi la'achar nefila mai." What would Shmuel say in the event that the burning of the wool took place after the improvement was made? No sin lo demate simro bishivkoi. Then the Mishnah would be saying, the Mishnah would hold that he would have to pay for the improved value that he made as well. Le Shmuel slay the Rav Asi. So let's say that Shmuel argues on this din of Rav Asi. Rav Asi said the Uman does not have to pay for the improvement that he made in the Kli. He was given raw materials and he improved it. That's really the point. The point is not really whether he made a Kli or not. The point is, did he make an improvement in what the Balabayat gave to him? This is right. It's not here in this case with the wool. The wool's not becoming a Kli. It's just becoming valuable because of the dye that's been absorbed in the wool. So like that, the way we're understanding, according to Shmuel, the Uman would have to pay for the improved value as well as the value of the wool itself. And so the Gemara says he let's say that Shmuel does not agree with him, with Rav Asi, and on that the Gemara says no. Amalak Shmuel. Shmuel would say to you the following thing.
Oh, well, so much for the freezing.
That he's only the reason that the Mishnah says that he's got to pay only for the wool and he doesn't have to pay for the improvement in over there is number one, like Shmuel said, it's talking where there was no actual improvement yet. There wasn't any actual improvement. So the implication is, if there would be an improvement, he'd have to pay for that also. But don't say that Shmuel disagrees with Rav Asi, because he's talking about a different case. He's talking about a case where both the wool as well as the dye material, that's the material which is going to be absorbed into the wool, which is going to improve the value of the wool, it's all owned by the balabayas. And the uman, he's just a paid day worker over there, picking up his wages for his work involved. But he's not. So therefore, Rashi explained us that like that, he's just you're just paying him for the hours that he's working, the time. He doesn't acquire anything through his work alone. And so therefore that's why the case of the Mishnah is mashma that had the absorbed value been absorbed into the wool, then he would have to pay for it. Okay, because he would not have acquired it. So now that's where we're up to. A round of applause for getting up to where we got up before. Now we got all the whole thread, and now we got two more, just I think 2 more points over here, and we're finished over here. So let's read now from Ihachi.
So far we haven't proved anything.
Yeah, right. We tried to say, the Gemora suggested, Lema, that we have a support for Ravasi, and the Gemora brought Shmuel, and Shmuel says, no, the Mishnah doesn't support Ravasi. And then the Gemara said, oh, it sounds like Shmuel argues with Ravasi. And then the Gemara says, no, Shmuel doesn't argue with Ravasi. He just says the Mishnah is talking about a different case. And so the reason why the Mishnah is not a support to Shmuel is because it's talking about a different case. And you can't infer from what the Mishnah says what the case would be where you can't infer for the case of Ravasi that it should be a support for him. But now the Gemara is gonna say something interesting. Let's see what the Gemara says now. Ihachi.
Okay.
What do you want to read?
Ihachi.
Oh, you see where Ihachi is? Ihachi is first word in the line is Vetsaba, Agarle, Yode.
Ihachi no sein lo deme tamro the simanim mi ka'e mi ba'e lay. So if so, give to him the value of the wool, and the signs are needed for it.
The dye. That's seminim. That word for dyes.
So give him the value of the wool, and what does it mean that the miboye lay?
Miboyle, it needed to say. Miboyle literally means it needed. And we're referring to the
value of the wool and the dye.
Yeah,
I see. So this means that since we're saying that the dye belongs to the homeowner, if we're saying that the dye belongs to the homeowner, then it should have said that he has to the uman has to pay for the wool and the dye, because they both belong to the homeowner.
right.
The implication being that they don't both belong to the homeowner, because it didn't say anything about the dye.
Yeah. So
this is significant because the whole point we made here was that Shmuel's case is where the homeowner owns the dye. If the homeowner doesn't own the dye, then it would be a case where he made an improvement, and he would have to, and he should have to pay. But since he doesn't have to pay, it's a support for Ravasi.
Well,
I think.
okay. Before the Gemara said, right? Before the Gemara said Omer Lach Shmuel, the Gemara said, "Oh, the way that Shmuel is reading the Mishnah, we're talking about the way Shmuel is reading the Mishnah. Shmuel said that 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 the Mishnah is talking about a case where in fact the sheheg dichoy b'shas tefillah the leka shivcha." Shmuel wanted to say that the Mishnah is talking about a case where there was not any improvement yet in the dye, and that's the reason why he doesn't have to pay for the dye, because if he would, and the implication was that if in a case where the dye did get absorbed in the wool, and then the Uman burnt the wool, so then he would have to, according to Shmuel, he would have to pay for it. So that's at that point the Gemara thought that Shmuel is arguing with Rav Asi, and then the Gemara said no, Shmuel doesn't necessarily argue with Rav Asi, because he's saying that the Mishnah is talking about a case where the Balabayas owns the Samamanim. Now, in the case where the Balabayas owns the Samamanim, so Rashi explained us that in such a case like that, it's not possible for the Uman to acquire the improved value of the wool.
Why not? He's frozen again.
But now that Shmuel, now that the Gemara has answered that,
Rabbi, you froze.
Oish.
You said I asked you why do you say that he couldn't acquire the value of the improvement if the homeowner owned the dye, and then you froze.
Oh. Okay. Oh, so what do we need to explain now then?
You said that if the homeowner owned the dye, the Uman could not acquire the improvement.
Right.
And I'm asking you, why not?
That's the Rashi explained us in Divrei Maskil Amarlach. Rashi said, "Hamas nisan the mashma the ikadiach la'akan afila yohivle nami demeshiv. They could go in the December of Samani the balabais to haleka lememar uman kona b'sheva kli." In that case, says Rashi, you can't say that the uman can acquire the improvement, the proved value of the kli. The samamanim hudim abchele v'tzabas sechir ba'almahu. It's if the Balabayas owns the dyeing material, so for the same reason that we say that if when he's working with the dye, for the same reason that we say that when he's working with the wool and he burns it, he's got to pay for it. Right. So too, we could say he was working with the dye and he ruined it. He's got to pay for it too.
But if he
Why should
if he
why
if he
should there be
doesn't
any
ruin it,
difference?
but if he doesn't ruin it, and it works, he converts the raw wool into a colored wool. So he has now made an improvement in that wool. That wool is now more valuable. Why can't we say that he acquires that improvement? He did it. He made the improvement. So I think what you're saying is Rashi is saying that because he's just a hired worker, the saminin who the mashbasi lay the tava and the dyer Sachir, he hired Bava. He's just a hired hand. Is that what am I reading that correctly?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's saying. Since he's just a hired hand, he doesn't have any capital involved. So he can't acquire it because of that. Is that what he's saying? Is that what Rashi is explaining? Yeah, the next sentence says V'daf Vadai Uman.
Because the Balabais owns. I mean, the Gemora makes both of the points. The Gemora says we're talking about a case. Hakam Mayas Kinan Kagon the Tzemer V'Samamanim the Balabais. Point number one is not only the Semer is being given to the Uman, but also the Samanim. The dye is also being given to him. And then it says that Saba and the dyer Agar Yadehu the Shakil. He's just taking his wages for his work. That's the agreement. So we want to know, well, why you're asking, well, why should we just say that just because he's being paid for his hours, he's a wage worker, he's working according to a wage, that's the agreement. Why does that mean that he doesn't acquire something that he makes an improvement in?
Right. So
I think the reason for that is because the only look, I think the reason is because even though his work is causing an improvement in an increased value in the wool, work that's causing the dye to fall onto the wool and be absorbed into the wool. The nefila of the Gemora is talking about the absorption of the dye into the wool, even though it's true that his work is what's causing that to happen, and that's what makes the improvement. But nevertheless, he's not going to acquire that added value, uh, because why? Because it's the die doesn't belong to him. The die does not belong to him. Uh, just like the wool doesn't belong to him, the die doesn't belong to him. Since the wool and the dye don't belong to him, if he ruins the dye or the wool, he's got to pay for it. That we got into the question of, does he have to pay for the dye or does he have to pay for the improved value of the wool itself? Is working with okay. Okay, now we had our
Oy, oy, oy.
okay. All right. So oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you this yet, but my wife did actually get in touch with Bezic,
Oh, what did
and
they say?
so Bezic's from their end, they checked they checked all of their in their and from where they were. They said everything everything is clean. Everything is working in good working order. There's no issue. And also your your filter company is doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them either. And we think that the problem is with your computer. So so that means I have to go to the one that sold us the computer and see what he can do about it. So that's what we'll have to do. 'Cause I don't understand exactly how it works, but we bought it from a like from a private individual. It was a new computer. It was a new computer out of the box. But I think my wife told me that he does. He's the one that puts the internet onto the computer or something like that. I don't know exactly. I don't know about these things.
Well, I'm incredulous about Besic's claim. I doubt it's your computer that's causing the problem.
See, because the thing is, my wife has a computer in the house, and she doesn't have this problem. I mean, like she says, all computers they'll freeze now and then. Um, but it's not like mine. Doesn't seem to be.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a controlled experiment. If she doesn't have the problem with her computer, um, are there any differences between the way her computer is set up and yours? Does she have a cable, for example? Is she closer to the router, or anything like that?
Okay, so in other words, right. That's basically right. That's the yeah. I'm sure it's okay. So we'll have to look into that. Anyway, that's what we went. That's what we did so far. We called up the filter company. We called up Bezic, and they say that the problem is not from their end.
Well, I certainly appreciate your efforts, Rabbi.
So we're gonna try to. But okay. So now we see that it also went down even with this device that I was using. Okay. All right. So okay. Yeah. So that's the reason. So we were explaining why it is. So that's the words that that Rashi is telling us that we can't say that the uman that the one who's dying the wool, the worker, that he's going to acquire the improved value of the dye being absorbed in the kli, because the improved value was as a result of the raw material that was owned by the balabayas. The dyeing material was owned by the balabais. The only thing the worker is providing here is his work, and his work he's being paid for. He's being paid as a worker for his work. So that's what he's being paid for. So in the absence of him owning the material that he's working with, the Gemora says he cannot acquire. He cannot acquire. So therefore, Shmuel is just talking about. That's the reason why Shmuel says he can't acquire. And like that, Shmuel would not be arguing on Ravasi, because Ravasi presumably will also agree to that. But at this point, we have to say that if the balabais owns the if he owns the dyeing material, so then now the Gemara is asking, if that's so then why is it that it says in the Mishnah that he only has to pay for the wool when he ruins the wool? He should also have to pay for the dye that he ruined as well. What's the difference between the wool and the dye? The dye is also belongs to the balabais. It was given to him just like the wool was given to him. So when he ruins it, he's got to pay for the wool. He's got to pay for the dye as well. And if the Mishnah is actually talking about a case where the balabais owns the dyeing material as well as the wool, so why doesn't the Mishnah say that he's got to pay not only for the wool when he burns it, but he also got to pay for the dye when he burns it? That's the Gemara. Doesn't work now. And it's not even drilling. There's not even any drilling now anymore. It could, you know what? I'm wondering if the reason why it's unstable is because it doesn't have enough electricity now.
You should be able to see how your battery is charged. If you hover over the little picture of the battery, it should tell you how much charge it has.
Yeah, it was only half. It had a sign that it was only half full. So now I'm when I put in the actually now when I put in the plug to charge it to get it charging. So that's when we unfroze.
Okay, so maybe that's the solution. You said when it was plugged in, it also didn't work right.
Right.
So I don't know.
And now it's not even reflecting the fact that it's charging up. I don't know. It does say that it's plugged in. Oh, it says it's plugged in, and it says it only has half battery capacity. Okay. But in any case, it's not knocking off. Okay, so the Gemora. So what's the Gemora's answer? Let's read the Gemora's answer. Ella.
Ella Shmuel de Dach Vaye Ka made Madche lay. Rather, Shmuel was deflecting is that the same word? Madche and
Yeah.
Dachaye?
Right.
Deflecting, he was deflecting.
Right.
So what does that mean? He was deflecting.
What does it mean that he was deflecting? Let's see Rashi.
We're trying to find the Rashi. Which one is it? Machele. Okay.
Dachele, yeah.
Dache. That he really, the chi is like pushing off. Koloma to say the Mishnah Nisnisen from our Mishnah low to see the Mishnah is not doesn't give a proof. It doesn't help. The low mishum and not because the nishma mineh that you should learn from it. The Shmuel believed ad Rabbah. Ravasi, that Shmuel is arguing with Ravasi, disagreeing with Ravasi.
So Rashi seems to be saying that the Gemora is explaining that in other words, what did Shmuel say? Suggestion that was arguing with Ravasi. All that Shmuel said was that the Mishnah's talking about a case where it was burned before there was any improvement in the wall. That's all Shmuel said. So now the Gemara is returning to that and saying that Shmuel said that not because he disagrees with Ravasi, but simply because he does not hold that the is a proof or a support to Ravasi's principle that a uman is kona b'shevach kli. He doesn't see that the Mishnah there's no support for Ravasi from this Mishnah, because the Mishnah says Shmuel could be talking in a case where there was not any shevach. the Gemora originally said, "Oh, let's say it's a support to Ravasi, because let's say that the Mishnah is talking about a case where he burned it, the dyer burned it after the dye had already been successfully absorbed into the wool." And Shmuel is saying, "Mehekatesi." Where do you know that the Mishnah is talking about that? Maybe the Mishnah is talking about there wasn't any improvement in the wool. The dye did not get properly absorbed in the wool before it was burnt, and so that's why the Mishnah says that there is that the only thing that he's got to pay for the uman when he burns the wool is the wool itself, and it didn't say that he's got to pay for the improved value of the wool, because who says that there was any improved value of the wool? That's all. That's what the Gemora. That's what the Gemara means to say that Shmuel is deflecting. Okay, and we'll conclude over here.
Oy, oy, oy.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi.
Everybody
Thank
have a
you,
good day,
everyone.
a good Tainus. Bez Hashem.
We'll see you tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.
Tomorrow.
Bez Hashem. Okay.
I would suggest that you review with your wife her setup and your setup to see if there's any differences between the two that might explain why hers is working and yours isn't. Just review how they're both, each one is connected, what room it's in, all that kind of stuff, and just make sure that there isn't something significant different. And if that's the case, then I guess contacting the person you bought it from is the next step.
Yeah. See what he has to say. He'll say it's not my problem either.
Probably, yeah. When I was
say, yeah, you're right. It's my problem. I know. I got a problem because nobody's taking the responsibility. I know.
when I was working in the software industry, I ran into this all the time. They point like this. This vendor says it's his fault. This vendor says it's his fault. Happens all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Bez Hashem.
Have a great day.
You too.
See you, Phil.
Bye, Phil.